everyone knows about you and Passion, but they don't really know all the Buster days and the student nights and all that sort of stuff. So I want you to maybe talk about stuff that isn't as obvious, just so people get to know you as a person rather than, you know?
Yeah.
And then any sort of funny stories, anything that we can, we'll probably just bounce off anyway.
Yeah, shall we get a clapperboard? Pass that JFK vacancy one down there.
This one here?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I did that for a photo shoot. That's when I was homeless. There we go. When I was homeless. Have you seen that? No, we can't probably. There we go. Are we ready?
Yes.
The interviews. Ready? Number one.
So, hi everyone, Marc West here, and welcome to another edition. I think I'm looking in this camera. Welcome to another edition of Clublife Stories. It's been quite a long time coming, this interview with my good friend sat opposite me. We've been trying to get this date put together for some time. But I'd like to introduce you to a very good friend of mine of circa 20 years. He has been around the industry for, I don't know how long, decades. And I just wanted to give you a little bit more of an insight of Mr. Passion himself, the one and only Jason Kinch, Mr.
Hello.
JFK.
Hello,
Good evening, sir. I'm
You're
very
right.
well.
Good.
Yeah, a little bit nervous.
Yeah,
little bit
okay.
nervous,
What,
but
you are? I
am, yeah.
You're asking me questions.
Yes.
It's not usually I get asked questions.
No, normally it's you that's asking. You know, a lot of people do know you as Mr. Passion from the DJ side and the personalities, but I guess I want to get more of an insight on you, you know, going right back to what made you get into the music industry in the first place, and we'll sort of like take it from there.
Yeah, okay.
So,
right, wow. Okay, and it's not just me that's Passion, by the way. You are.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's an argument, and we'll probably come to it later on. Which one of us has played more Passions, and it might be you or me. So we'll have to. Well, I'm actually going to work it out.
Oh, okay.
We've got those 25 years of Flyers almost finished.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a date, and we're going to write down everybody that's played, and do a little checklist.
Okay.
I get my daughter to help me. So I'll do a checklist. Anyway, okay.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Right back. So you went to school. Were you interested in music at school?
Yeah, I think it was through my parents really. They were big into probably 60s music back in the day. My dad was a reverend in the church, and we used to go to a lot of gospel churches, and there was a lot of the times when he would go and preach at some of the churches, and we were like the only white people in the audience. It was a full black gospel choirs, and it was just an amazing experience. And I think that really got me into a lot of the music that I'm into today. And then
singing.
I used to join in, sing, and no instruments. Well, I did play some instruments at school, but it was like more the typical school sort of instruments.
Like ukuleles.
No, the oboe, actually,
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah, very poorly, I must add, very, very poorly. And then it was I was always the kid in the family, right? Because you had the ghetto blaster that went everywhere. Because you didn't have stereos in your car or whatever. And I had the cassettes, and I was the one in the family that played the music. I played the music to the soundtrack of the family.
Wow.
So
okay.
that was probably where I got into it. And like a lot of people, it was like back in the 80s, I would make my own cassette tapes, and I would listen to the radio, and I'd make it. And I had a one piece with a record player on, take cassette tape and a microphone, and then talk on my own radio shows and everything. I was about 13, 14 at the time, and then we went to, and then eventually I went to Rawlins, which was in Quorn, and they had this thing. Once you got into the sixth form, they had this thing where you could go to at lunchtime, where there was 2 decks behind the records, and some really, really old scratch records. I mean, they were like disgusting. There'd been everybody had a go. You know what I mean? It was, but then I just started playing music on 2 decks. And it was a twin deck player, so I wouldn't get me wrong. They weren't like Technics decks or whatever. They were twin deck players with a mixer in the middle, and I just found it was just like, wow, this is something that I really want to do. And I found myself every single lunchtime going in there and being the one that just played the records. And back then, though, the DJ name, you were pretty much of a sad person. It wasn't like the the cool industry people that career that people have made out of it. We're talking back when mobile discos were king, and you go to nightclubs and you took your life in your own hands and going to these nightclubs because everybody was fighting. But it was so to go into that sort of industry was really sort of like not seen as anything cool at all.
But what
Far
was
from
it though? What was it? From getting
Just
behind those
about-
decks in school to giving you that, oh my God, this is something I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, it was just I wanted to play music to people. I wanted to play, and that's
Simple
how it
as
started.
that.
Yeah, I just wanted to play music, and then I left school, and obviously, I started collecting vinyl from a very early age. From 1984 onwards, like Frankie Goes to Hollywood collection, I collected every single remix.
First record.
My first record, I bought two at the same time.
Okay.
Right, so and I bought two 7-inches, 99p. I've still got them. They're there.
They're there.
And you didn't even know that.
I didn't even know. No.
Pass one over.
These here?
No, it's
This one?
that one, and the one behind it.
Wow.
I sorted these
So
out the other
guys-
week. You didn't even know. Duran, Save a Prayer,
Save a prayer.
and ABC, All of My Heart.
Oh my God, they were the first
which
ones
was
that you bought.
these were, yeah, and I bought both of them too for
How does that go? Is
99p.
that save a prayer for
Yeah, okay,
you?
yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
So
right, okay.
I thought I was a new romantic at 15, but I wasn't really. You know, it was
Wow.
it was pretty much collecting vinyl, and then I became a massive Frank Goes to Hollywood fan, and followed Trevor Horner as the producer. I thought his remixes were absolutely amazing, and what they did Frank Goes to Hollywood, they brought a remix out every single week for to keep them at number one.
Yeah.
So it was a 12-inch single every single week, so I had to go and buy the same one. And
Okay.
what people
Good
didn't
on
realise, they changed the chart format after that,
Yeah.
but that's what kept them at number one for so many times, because people like me went out and bought
But
all the
everyone-
remixes
all
of
the
the
remixes.
same
Yeah.
song. So, and I just thought it was an absolute revelation.
Wow.
So so that was where my vinyl obsession became, and then there's a very, very good story from my friend Johnny Knighton. Do you know? Remember Johnny?
Yeah, I know
Johnny Disco.
Johnny Disco, yeah.
As everyone knows
Knows
him.
him.
Well, he used to have this thing called Sound City Disco back in
Yeah.
the old days, and I lived in Woodhouse Eaves, and he lived just around the corner from me, and I used to see him go out with his mobile disco. He had this disco, Sound City Disco, mobile disco. So somehow, I can't remember how, but we got talking, and he wanted somebody to help him on the night time.
Yeah.
He was the DJ, and
Yeah.
someone to go with him. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. He says, well, okay, I'll pay you £5 a night. And I distinctly remember it was £5 a night,
£5 a night.
and all you can drink. Well, that's
Keep
where
your
my
fiver.
addiction started, really, wasn't it? And my job was to help him set the mobile disco up, take it down at the end of the night, and pack it away.
And that's
But
after all you could drink, right?
yeah, no, but I didn't do all your drink really. It was. I think I had to stay pretty sober, because what my job would be, there would be a box of records, 7 inches. Okay, so he would go find me Baby Love or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I was the oracle. I was the
wow.
record finder back in the day,
okay,
and I
that's
would find the
interesting.
records and I'd pass them
listen
to
to
him, and then he'd put them on and say the
Yeah,
cheesy
yeah.
bits on the
just
microphone.
give back to you and
Give
you're
back to me.
like-
I'd put them in the sleeve, know where they were for next time, and went through them all. And he'd go, "Get me this one, that one."
So you're like the modern day record box, aren't you?
Yeah.
yeah, you're like him.
I knew where everything was.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so that was. I did that for a while, just helping him out sort of thing, and that sort of slowly progressed to him then getting in 2 setups and letting me go out on my own once I'd learnt the craft of how to DJ, because there's a certain art that you need to know how to perform, how
Sure.
to DJ, how to be amongst people, and you can't just go, I'm just going to go put all these records on. He's got to make sure you connect with the dance floor, and that's what
So
I
you
learned.
taught a lot from him.
Oh, amazingly! He came to Passion in October. Seen him in the pub across the road. And I went, Johnny, how you doing? Oh, you got to come over. And he's still doing. He's like,
Really?
yeah, he's still doing it. And he was
Incredible.
like the master. But he taught me so much. I can't thank him enough for. It's that connection with how to connect with the dance floor, how to read the people in the room, know what they were, because my first ever mobile disco that I did on my own was a 60th wedding anniversary. So it was like, you had to know your stuff.
Yeah,
and
of
obviously,
course.
being a young man, I want to play all the latest dance hits and this, that, the other, all the,
Yeah.
well, it was probably Chaz and Dave or something, or whatever, or no, Pete Waterman or whatever it was back in the day, or some of the early house stuff.
Yeah.
But you realised that you couldn't do that because you had some 80-year-old
Your
people
first
there.
ever disco. We
was
know
a
this.
60th. Well, yeah. Well, they probably ruined their wedding anniversary. I was probably absolutely terrible, to be honest with you.
Who's this
but-
guy? Oh, dear. So did you have a name when you played? Did you play as Jason, back then. Jason
I was
King.
Sound City Disco, so I was
Oh,
representing
okay.
Sound City Disco. So we were
Wow.
doing that. So you had to make sure you took care of the moments. You know, the special moments in the night was obviously you had to make sure you didn't play the music too loud earlier on. You got the buffet that came out, and
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
people had to turn the music down for the buffet, and then you have to get things right. You have to make sure that the person whose either birthday or anniversary or whatever it is gets that special moment. Sometimes I'd have done weddings and learnt the craft of DJ. It's hard. It's really hard to get it right and to be a perfectionist at it. It's really hard because everybody thinks, oh, it's just.
Well, you're not just doing one genre though, are you? You've got such an eclectic range
Yeah,
to
exactly.
cope depending on what venue you're doing, whether it's a wedding,
Yeah, exactly.
bar mitzvah, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, and then
okay.
to learn to speak on the microphone as well, because that was a massive thing, and I don't think I'd mastered it at that point.
Right.
I think I was Sound City Disco, everybody ready?
Like a fairground ride or something. Yeah.
So I learnt that at a later date, which I'll probably come on at a later date. But yeah, it was a real good opening and how to get into DJing.